I realize that I don't look the part, and I do know that I'm dealing with the ungrateful. I'm a poet. I wish to be paid for my work. I understand that there are forces militating against that who mean no well by our society. I don't know what happened to them. But that's not what this tape is about. Not exactly, and maybe it is indirectly. What I'm trying to record are my views about what the situation in Gaza, the terrible and preposterous pulverization of an entire world, says about the American civil rights movement. I was never one to cast aspersions on Obama. To me, he was frankly like the saucy Amazon who waylaid me as a child, just itching for harsh words so that they could circulate them through the KKK. I tried to avoid denigrating people, even if they deserved it, because of how violent and how low they are. But Andrea Swimmer and Obama belong together in the Book of Records concerning the city of Pittsburgh and the civil rights movement. I was also never one to think that age should be used as a rhetorical ploy for the power structure by the mavericks in the status quo of UW Dialectical in Seattle, who proved their hostility for norms by luring me here under promises of protection from abuse and then poisoning me repeatedly. How does one vindicate something that absurd? It's been absurd theater. So how exactly did the American Civil Rights Movement come to adopt as its genre a performance of absurd theater? Well, to understand that, you have to understand what the Civil Rights Movement was, what it wasn't, and its antecedents in history. And you have to understand the parallels of the march of brutality that go on in human destiny and the role it tried to play in mitigating and ameliorating these tendencies, for which I was proud to be part of it. When my father was still alive, I talked to him about the fact that the institutions of higher learning had neglected to study what the kids were listening to. He suggested a dissertation title of God, Guns, and Rock and Roll. Well, an early King Crimson album had a passage called March for No Reason that came out in 1969, the year after King was killed. They called themselves disgracefully King Crimson, crimson like a pool of blood, and laughed about it all the way home, crowing about a march for no reason, as though the sensibilities of the American Civil Rights Movement had no reason to exist and were simply an exercise in what Bobby Werner called an exercise of futility. I don't believe that either. The American Civil Rights Movement emerged from the sensibilities of all the world's religions. To do unto others as you would have others do unto you. To turn the other cheek if it reduces tensions. To accept some form of suffering as inevitable in this world. And to be magnanimous to the best of your power. We realize that the American gun control lobby, gun advocacy lobby, the NRA, has antagonized and tortured and poked and hated anything that with sniggers and loudish glee, anything that comes across as comprehensive the power of the public purse to create hospitals, places of worship, public schools, and peaceful gathering areas in our Commonwealth. Even coffee shops are under attack in America. One down the road put semen in a cup of coffee, chortling with Ringo's Starr. And these people who knocked out the American Civil Rights Movement, first the leadership with bullets, then the values with drugs and sex and craziness, released AIDS and got Obama behind them, talking about the good kind of people still can get ahead. When you look at the turn of the century, you had an era of prosperity to some extent. The values were upheld by the Statue of Liberty being erected in New York, by the movement of Mahatma Gandhi in India. The people of the world were celebrating in the Jazz Age, known as the Roaring Twenties. And then Hollywood snuck in the back door from Fayum's Denuncio movement of counterfeiters and smashed everything for the era of the great dictators. The Central Intelligence Agency put Cecil B. DeMille in charge of Radio Free Europe after World War II. These were the poachers that sent King Crimson into our offices after the death of Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King, sneering of a march for no reason. Public schools have values codes that we're forced to live up to now, which are in the interests of all of our society. All people of all religions and races are welcome. Don't let the Israelis make it into an us versus them sordid, horrible spectacle anymore. The disgrace of the Obama family is all over what happened of Gaza. For the first family to have slept through the militarization of the Middle East and turned drone weapons into the norm and genocide into just another crime cannot be attributed to Obama being black or half white or anything else. It's a spectral intelligence syndicate being built by the AIPAC in foreign England with the help of Donald Trumpy Toon, who will hereby be known as Toon. The mania for riches behind the scene, for cloisters behind the revolving bookshelf, for biological weapons, for criminal insanity, for poachers on the sidewalks that we all have to tread, has been made a spectacle and a puppet show by these louts who are bombing Gaza as though the people there don't deserve to stand a chance against any enemy that walks among them. And we are supposed to sit back and allow it. Well, I say no. If Martin Luther King were here, he would be silent with horror. But he wouldn't sit still. He would do everything in his power whatsoever to put a stop to it. And all of us must. For any jackal from the Kennedy family or the American Civil Rights Movement or the Pittsburgh Public Schools or the state of disgrace in Washington, D.C., to do anything but slam at doors on the Israelis now is a disgrace.